So we're going to finish up the chapter on health and safety. It is just a few items left that I'm going to cover with you guys. And then immediately after that, we will move into the following chapter, which is career management. And we had talked about everything else, and then we just had now started talking about burnout. So burnout is a chronic response to stress where one feels exhausted, extremely tired, demotivated, and uninterested in doing anything. And there's many things that can cause burnout. So one of them is obviously continuous exposure to stress. So if you're continuously exposed to stress, right, and you don't have work-life balance, in that what's happening outside of your work environment and what's happening in the work environment is just too much for you, that can lead to burnout. Also occurs when an employee experiences too much pressure. It could be pressure from inside of work or outside of work, which then results in a depletion of their resources and then translate to their productivity or low productivity. Okay, there's 3 symptoms of burnout. You get physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, and behavioral symptoms. Physical symptoms is what you would feel in your body. So you may get tension headaches, you constantly feel tired, you don't have the energy to do anything, your appearance changes, you may start to gain weight or lose weight, which is a result of behavioral symptoms, where you may start to eat too much, or you may start to eat less than you usually do or than you should, which can then result in you gaining or losing weight. Behavioral symptoms would also occur in you not attending work regularly as you're supposed to because of your physical symptoms. So you may start to get sick, which will then affect your absenteeism or the actual time in which you are required to come to work. It will affect the way you relate to other people in terms of the work that you do. It can also affect your relationships because then you lose interest in the things that you are naturally interested in. So because you are tired, you don't have the energy to do the work. It also translates to your lack of productivity and poor performance. And then emotional symptoms would be anxiety. You become very negative about life in general. You are cynical, you are tired, you're resentful, you're bored, nothing really interests you. So those are the 3 symptoms of burnout. So you get physical symptoms that deal directly with your physical body, and then you get behavioral symptoms, which is the changes in your behavior and how you relate to other people in and outside of work, and then you get emotional symptoms, which is how you function emotionally in terms of your job in relation to the people who are around you. You get job-related causes of burnout, and then you get lifestyle-related causes of burnout. Under job-related causes of burnout, you get things like too much pressure, unclear goals, lack of clarity in what you're expected to do, when you are overloaded with work, when you are not sure how to do the job that you have been given, a lack of knowledge about the job that you have been given, being overworked but then not being rewarded for the work that you put in. When you do boring and repetitive work as well, that can be a cause of burnout. And these are job-related causes of burnout. And then you get lifestyle-related causes of burnout, where, like I said earlier, you don't have work-life balance. So what's happening in your work and outside of your work may not be balanced, which can cause tension in your body, and which then results in stress. You may be taking on too many different roles. So you could be a working wife and mother. You could be taking care of someone who's sick, and all of these people expect so much from you, right? So if you're unable to balance those roles, that could be also a result. That could result in you being burnt out and your resources being completely depleted. You get things like lack of rest, where you are overworked in and outside of work, And lastly, insufficient support from people around you, whether it's people that you work with or people that you live with at home. So if you don't get enough support and everything is just falling on you, that could also lead to burnout. And then you get steps to mitigate burnout. This is not in your book, so it's just one slide, so just try to familiarize yourself with it, but it's not in the book. It's a 3-step process. The first one is recognizing, the second one is reversing, and then the third one is resilience. It's quite easy. Under recognizing, this is where you just try to figure out what are some of the things that may trigger burnout, or what are some of the things that may lead you to be burnt out, that can cause burnout in your life. Right? So when you have identified them, when you've identified those triggers or those causes, when you've recognized them, then you try to avoid them, or you work against them. You work in ensuring that they don't affect you. And the second one is more remedial in nature. The burnout has already taken place, or you're already burnt out. Right? Under this second stage, which is reverse, you try to find strategies that you can use in order to reverse the situation that you may be going through that's causing you to be burnt out. So you may start going for therapy, you may start cutting certain people out of your life. You can go to your boss and ask them to reduce your responsibilities. You can ask for support from people around you so that the consequences of the burnout are not as extreme or exaggerated. And then the last one is resilience, where you now find ways to cope with the situation that you are in. Right? So the first one, you remove it altogether. The second one, you try to reverse it. And then the third one, you're already in the situation. Maybe there may be no way for you to get out of it, right? For example, if you're a working mother, a working single mother, you can't get away from the fact that you're a mother. So you may need to find ways to be resilient to your stress. You try to think of ways that can help you cope with your situation in such a way that it does not deplete your resources, your physical, your mental, emotional, and behavioral resources. And in your book, just in the section where it talks about burnout, there's a table which gives a differentiation between stress and burnout. Please go read that table. It's very easy to understand. Stress and burnout are two terminologies that can easily be confused, but they're different. So go and look at that table and try to learn the differences between stress and burnout. There are other things that can cause employees stress. The first one is workplace violence. Right? Violence can translate into many ways. It could be in the form of bullying, it could be in the form of harassment, and harassment is also a very broad term. It could be sexual harassment, or it could be verbal, physical, even emotional harassment. So it's important for managers to ensure that their employees are safe from violence at work. At workplace bullying, which can be verbal or non-verbal. So it's actions from one person which are aimed at humiliating, embarrassing, hurting, shaming, isolating, and degrading another person at work. So imagine if you work with a boss or a fellow employee who's always trying to do these things to you. Obviously, this can be a cause of stress to you, and it's important that organizations draw up policies that ensure that there's no harassment, there's no violence. And another thing that's also interesting to note under harassment is that, particularly sexual harassment, so if you continuously ask someone out even though they've told you that they're not interested in being in a relationship with you, and you continuously pursue them, that can be deemed as workplace harassment. Also, if you post inappropriate pictures, whether it's on your desktop or somewhere on your wall or in your locker room, if they're offensive to other people, that is also seen as workplace harassment. Making comments, sexual comments. So it's important again to draw a line between complimenting someone on their physical appearance, because that there's a thin line between complimenting someone on their physical appearance and sexual harassment. So it's important to be able to know how to compliment someone or not to compliment altogether, especially in the professional environment, because that can easily be translated into sexual harassment. So it's important to be able to draw that line. You get issues such as alcohol and drug abuse and smoking. There's different organizations have different policies regarding this. For example, if you take Helderberg, they do have a policy for smoking, and the policy simply says no smoking. It's because of the nature of the organization. And then you get to other organizations where they allow you to smoke, but you can only smoke in certain spaces. You cannot smoke in particular areas, and if you do that, then there are consequences, because you are also putting other people's health at risk. So this varies from one organization to another, and then you get issues like substance and drug abuse. It does happen that employees may be engaging in these activities. Again, if you go to an organization like Helderberg, this is a no-go zone. They do have facilities that can help people who are struggling with such issues, but it's a no-go zone, particularly alcohol and smoking. But they do have facilities to help people who may be dealing with such issues. However, if you go into other organizations, you can take alcohol maybe during work functions or whatever, or even outside of work, right? But then they may have policies which say that during such and such a time you may not consume alcohol, or if you find that you are intoxicated during work hours, then you may lose your job, depending on what's in the policy. So it's important to have policies like that that help employees know exactly how to carry themselves at work. And then you get issues where these substances can be abused. And there's various reasons why employees abuse drugs and alcohol. You may need to take them through rehabilitation, where you can refer them to expertise who know how to deal with such issues. You also need to find out why they may be engaging in such behaviors. Why are they turning to drugs, or why are they abusing alcohol? Because there may be something bigger going on, and beyond them abusing alcohol and their bigger problems, the bigger picture, obviously, if they're your employees, is the fact that it then affects their productivity, it affects their performance, which affects you as a business. So it's important to ensure that your employees are well taken care of where these issues are concerned. Directly linked to helping your employees deal with these difficult issues such as workplace violence, such as harassment, whether it's sexual harassment, whether it's verbal or non-verbal harassment, whether it's someone just bullying another person at work, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, smoking. Organizations can design wellness programs, which are programs designed to assist employees with their overall health while they are working, or even when they are not working. So the main aim of wellness programs is to ensure that you prevent health issues in the workplace, in ensuring that you are taking preventative measures so that employees do not end up engaging in behaviors that are harmful to their health, one, or if they've already engaged in behaviors that are harmful to their health, you then try to find solutions to get them out of those situations. So programs that are designed to help employees in that nature are called wellness programs. And then you get employee assistance programs, which are programs designed to help employees overcome personal problems such as substance abuse, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, bullying, in and outside of work violence, in things like domestic violence. So the main difference between EAPs and wellness programs is the fact that wellness programs try to fix the problem before it occurs, whereas EAPs fix the problem that's already happening. An example of a wellness program would be inviting a psychologist to come and talk about depression, even though no one has indicated symptoms of depression. And then EAPs would be taking employees who are depressed to therapy. Okay, so this is the end of this chapter, health and safety in the workplace. I hope that you understood what's happening. Again, if you have questions regarding this chapter, please let me know. You can always email me. You guys have my email. Put the questions in the group or on Google Classroom.